when Gachagua gets his way out of a structured government dialogue, it looks like he's making a mistake that Ruto did. Raila is using every tactic to provoke Gachagua, so Gachagua can bring outbursts. So this outbursts, they will go back to the demonstration and say the impediment, the person who is who can stop these talks to go on, it is Gachagua. Raila is not those kind of people who will joke around with. It's a person you cannot ever allow to entertain him to come into your house, because he will take over. Raila is campaigning for deputy presidency. Raila must understand, Ruto is not Kibaki. Ruto is not Uhuru. You cannot intimidate Ruto.
Raila unamwambia nini?
Amezeeka. Agurumu mtoto, amweka kwenye position. Yes, period. Amezeeka. He will never sit on any power of this nation. That one, hata wanipiga na mawe. Acha niseme hiyo.
Pale Nyandarua Ngorika tulimwona Raila, Gachagua wakijibizana. Nilipokuwa nikitazama, I saw it's like disrespect of each other.
It is no one thing. This is old politics, and the politics za ujinga. Wacha niziita tu politics za ujinga, because according to the structures of the government, first of all, that is where we must start from. You respect the authority. The deputy president now is a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, and is a representation of the presidency. So when you see the deputy president, you see Ruto. And when you see Ruto, you see the presidency. And when you see the presidency, you see the structure of the government. And that alone must be respected as that. That is an authority. Number two, what was the occasion?
Bario ya Mzee Kiboko.
Mzee Kiboko. So were they paying respect? Because Bario, I think we got to pay respect. Were we paying respect? That is, my answer is no. Number three, having been a prime minister does not mean you are still a prime minister. Having been a leader of the opposition does not really translate that you become that man that you should bully everybody. That's aside. If you come to the other side of Gachagua, Gachagua has grown to be an administrator.
Administrator or a politician?
Administrator. He was, from the word go, he started a chief, a DO, he came up. This man, he knows the secrets of the government. He knows the management of the government. He knows it better than Ruto, because he has been in the structures of the government. And when you're in the structures of the government, if you can look at the politicians who have ever been in the government structures, they don't, even if they're in opposition, when a government gives a direction, they get out of opposition and they come to the government, because they know what the government can do and what the government means, the secrets and the oaths of the government. If you look like Haji, the late Haji, sometimes he was in the opposition, and when the government will speak something, he will move. There's this Kilu, Mama Mailu, Kilu. He was a provincial commissioner here in Rift Valley. Mkamba. He died in Kitui or somewhere there. That man, he was my friend. That man, he was with Kalonzo in the opposition. But when the government would issue a statement, that man will turn against you like he was not in the opposition, because he is in the government. He has been the government. He knows the structures of the government. He knows the oath of the government. Why Tanzania is so stable is because most of the politicians must have gone through the process of the army. Kina Kikwete, all those people, they have gone through the processes of army and through the process of CCM school. That is why you can see the discipline. There is no tribalism, and the discipline is so high. So when Gachagua gets his way out of a structured government dialogue, it looks like he's making a mistake that Ruto did. the history is trying to repeat itself. Number two, Raila is using every tactic to provoke Gachagua, so Gachagua can bring outbursts. So this outbursts, they will go back to the demonstration and say the impediment, the person who is who can stop these talks to go on, it is Gachagua. And they will brand Ruto as the best man, a gentleman who wants this thing to be done. They will brand Ruto as a man who is for change, a man who loves. Then the other side, they will use Gachagua as an impediment, something that is stopping the progress. Is the barrier. The man who is behind the enemy. He is an a retrogressive, somebody who is taking us behind, someone who doesn't want us to go forward. And you need right now, the economy is so not very well. It's shaky, and everybody wants stability. So Raila is using a tactic to brand Gachagua like a bad person, a man who does not want progress, because Raila is eyeing the deputy presidency in this country. That is what Raila is looking for.
Eyeing how?
Once they brand Gachagua, they will move around the country and say Gachagua must go. And while the talks are going on, they will come up with the nusu mukate. And the nusu mukate, what they will say? We want deputy president. And already they have branded the deputy president to be a wrong person. Everybody will come up and say, simuache atoke kidogo tupate amani. Raila is campaigning for deputy presidency. And that is why he's going where the deputy president is and provoke him to speak. And then he will use it against Gachagua. So Gachagua need to be very careful because Raila is creating a road towards his seat.
Raila anataka kiti ya unaibu wa rais.
Anataka Raila cannot. Raila is like a fish which cannot.
Raila now to deputize Ruto.
And then now make sure that Ruto does not succeed. He deputized Kibaki and made sure Kibaki is not moving until he was removed. That is, he went and controlled Uhuru. And removed Uhuru from his own government, and Uhuru became in opposition. Remember those days of Moi? He went with Tinga, and the Tinga was swallowed, but it was tapikuad by the cock.
That means Raila is a very powerful person.
Raila is an altar himself. Raila is not those kind of people who will joke around with. It's a person you cannot ever allow to entertain him to come into your house, because he will take over. If he doesn't take over, he will spit on your food. You will not eat it.
Labda Apostle Ndura,
even if he's going to be 120 years, he will still come to Nakuru and the crowds will come. One thing Raila will never ascend to is power. He will never ascend to power because of the curse of his father. But if there was no curse, Raila will be the life president in this country. He has the power and he has the caliber to move things. It's only that curse of his father that makes him not succeed.
Maybe
allowing him, even for these talks, Ruto and Gachagua, allowing this man to come on the table, ati munaongelelea, umefungua mulango na mutafunga.
What should they do?
Lock the house completely. Lock the house. I know Ruto is a ruthless, powerful man who can make powerful decisions and run the country. Weka Gachagua kando kidogo, aendeshe yeye mwenyewe, ashike nchi.
Wafukuze Raila
kabisa, na hiyo talks zote zikuwe cancelled. We don't need talks. We don't need talks. There was an election and there was a court. And the reason we go for an election is there will be number one, there will be number two. You became number two. You went to court. The court said this man won. Stop it. Go home.
Maybe this position of leader of opposition, amesema mtengenezea ofisi ya leader of opposition.
Listen, let me ask you a question. Raila was with Uhuru in the government. Handshake.
Handshake government.
Yeah. The cost of life, sugar went to 250. Unga went to about 230 during the Uhuru government. Petrol went up during the Uhuru government where Raila was in.
Vita ya Ukraine.
Ngoja. Sasa kwani vita za Ukraine zimeisha wakati Ruto ameingia kwa power? Zimeisha. Just ask you a question. Kwani hizo vita mnasema ni za Ukraine zimeisha wakati Ruto ameingia kwa power? Si bado zinaendelea? Why now? Mnataka Ruto afanye nini? Atengeneza noti zake. Na wakati walijua Ruto anaenda kuchukua power, Delaru wakatoka. Wakaondoka. Because Abu Delaru is controlled by the Kenyatta family, so that he cannot print some money, because every government that comes to power prints money. Every government that comes to power, they print money. This to sustain the economy, because every government that comes to power, it comes to find an empty coffers. Uhuru and Raila emptied the entire system. There was no money. Ruto is trying. Ruto, I'm telling you, if there is any man I've ever seen that can do something out of nothing, it is Ruto. He has tried. He has tried.
Labda hapo mbeleni.
You can see now he's shaping up the government. He's coming up. By tukiendelea hivi, in another 6 months time, the economy will stable.
Do you see any kind of a handshake or coming together, Ruto and Raila working together?
I would hate, because tutarudi pale tu kwa handshake. Tutarudi pale tu kwa nusu mkate na mkeka nusu. We need to move forward. We need to understand. We need to appreciate the politics of winning and losing. If we cannot show our nation that now, if you've lost, go to court, like Tanzania. Nani ule mzee alikuwa anaitwa nani? Lowassa had won, but when it was declared it is this guy that has won, so hiyo siasa iliishia hapo na akaenda nyumbani na akaachana na politics. The same thing in Kenya, we should do that. Nani anaitwa nani? This man in America anaitwa Trump, na huyu mama alikuwa ameshinda, lakini sasa wakaleta college nini na ikakuwa sasa ni Trump, na ikakuwa ni hivyo. Now you go home, you relax, we get somebody else to come and run these three families, the Kenyatta family, the Waruinge family, and the Moi family. When these people will be distinguished from the politics of this nation, Kenya will be a first world nation.
Na Ruto family.
Ruto has no family. Ruto has no family.
Hustlers.
No, the hustler, the only hustler Kenya has ever had is Kibaki, not Ruto. Ruto is not a hustler.
Tuache hapo hivyo. Maybe in that seconds, maybe your message to Ruto, Raila and Gachagua.
Yeah, me, I want to tell Ruto, I know Ruto. Gachagua ni mtu wa mkono ya Ruto. So Ruto will make decisions.
And a shareholder.
He's not a shareholder. Where in constitution?
According to Ruto's school.
Where in his constitution? Ruto was in government.
Serikali ya shares.
He was in government wakati wa Uhuru. Si ali contribute. Si Matiang'i ndiye alikuwa deputy president. In fact, a deputy president has no role in this nation. He works under the office directed what to do every day by the president.
Gachagua anasema yeye anafungua mlango na yeye anafunga mlango.
Hiyo ndio kazi yake, ya kufungua mkubwa ingie na afunge mkubwa ingie atoke. Hiyo ndio kazi ya deputy president.
Fungia wengine nje.
Hawezi akifungia watu pale nje. Uhuru apiga simu ambie Kindiki endo ingisa watu waingie ndani. Gachagua hakuna ukuona nani akichea mikutano Matiang'i. Ruto akiwa, and you know who Ruto is. Hukuona Ruto akioperate from Karen, amefungiwa milango, yeye mwenyewe amefungiwa milango. He fought himself through in akawin. So being a deputy president does not give you any power. You only to become submissive to your boss. The best Ruto can do is to go, Gachagua can do, aende silent, alete Wakikuyu pamoja. Wakikuyu wote wakikuwa nyuma yake, sasa hiyo ndio atasema ako na share. Because Raila ana force talk because ameingia kwa barabara na watu. So Gachagua aondoke kwa UDO na UDC na administration. Arudi kwa raia wa Kikuyu, Mount Kenya, awaweke kikapu moja, wamuendorse, you are our kingpin. From there atakuwa na power. But for now,
hapo Ndura, sasa hivi mshele na nyama na dhoda. Sasa hivi nani kingpin wa Mount Kenya ni nani? Kwa sababu nasikia ile sijui mnaita aje bado iko kwa Uhuru.
Uhuru si kingpin. Uhuru was never given it. Uhuru, Kikuyus have never had a king. A natural king. We have never had a natural king. And the Kikuyus, we don't have a permanent, like now the Kambas have Kalonzo as their king. The Luos have Raila as their king, who has come all the way, and they cannot afford to drop him. Kikuyus, we create kings as per to need basis.
Self-interest.
What is our need now? Uhuru became president because of Mungiki. Do you understand? Mungiki how? Because he was branded by the ICC. He's a Mungiki. He financed Mungiki to kill people in the Rift Valley.
Tukatia hapo hivyo, tutakuja kwa hiyo topic kidogo. Labda tutakuja
kidogo tu ndio nimalize statement yangu. So wakati aliitwa ICC, we rallied behind him to rescue him, not him to become a president.
Mtu wetu
ni mtu wetu. That's how Kikuyu behave. I will find you stealing. You are my fellow Kikuyu, and because you are stealing from Aluo, I will defend you.
Mondo wa nyoba.
Sasa nikikudefend, nikikutoa tenda kukuchapia uko mbele.
Raila unamwambia nini? Raila unamwambia nini?
Amezeeka. Agurumu mtoto, amweka kwenye position. Yes. Period. Amezeeka. He will never sit on any power of this nation. That one hata wanipiga na mawe. Niseme hiyo. He will never. I'm giving a prophetic word. He will never rise to power. He will never sit on the presidency. That's number one. Number two, he is destroying his legacy. His legacy will go down just like the Uhuru legacy, how it has gone. Uhuru and Kenyatta family will never gain a rise. Maybe 200 years to come. But now to then, they have destroyed themselves. Their economy will crumble down. Their kingdom will be destroyed. Because there are so many people who have always wanted to bring them down. Uhuru gave them a chance. Raila is a manipulator, and his manipulation system has come to an end because the man that they are fighting against is a shrewd man. Ruto is a very shrewd man. He will kneel down before you, but by the time he rises up, akisimama na miguu yake, utakuwa wewe umelala chini. Siku kneel down, utakuwa umelala chini. Is that kind of a man who understands tomorrow, who understands his next step, who understands when you open your mouth, he knows what you want to say, and he knows what he will do before you say it. So this Raila must understand, Ruto is not Kibaki. Ruto is not Uhuru. You cannot intimidate Ruto.